Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Mac Office Teardown Lab. You can see it's a slightly different opening today because I already have stuff on my desk, and what I have is Chinny's Spectrum Plus 2 original model.
Hello and welcome to what we hope will be another exciting edition of Chinny Vision. Target is, you can see the helicopter on the right hand side of the screen at the bottom.
I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to be able to repair it. You know, it's becoming an uneconomic repair, and that's just putting it nicely, really. So you have the main board here, and you can see I've done some mods to it. Effectively what I've got from here is I'm powering the units, if I believe it to be true, the 12 volt system from here. And these are my jumpers for giving it bench power supply. And the reason was some of the voltage systems broken on it. That meant you weren't getting a composite output, but despite all that and a lot of fiddle-faddling, I couldn't really get it working. And because I only have the Plus 2B, or A, I'm not sure, but the model that came after this, none of the chips really are compatible, so I can't even do chip swaps to sort of compare it. But as far as I can tell, I think a lot of the chips here are good. I think my gut feeling is there's something going on here with the memory of the video, and because different probing and things like that reveal different things, applying different temperatures, things. I'm getting different patterns on the screen, but you know, guys, that's as far as I can go with it before I start needing to really have to start replacing those. But the Spectrum motherboard is really cheap. It's really cheaply made, so it starts damaging almost as soon as you start working on it. So it's one of those things you've really got to, one, know what you're doing, which I'm going to admit I don't fix Spectrums for a living, and two, you've got to be really careful. So the end result has to be worthwhile to you. A working Spectrum would be amazing, don't get me wrong, but a dead Spectrum and no spare parts would kind of be sad too, where you might be able to give this to somebody who actually just spends loads of their time fixing them, and they'll go, actually, I know what's wrong with it, so I'm willing to fix that. Or I've got plenty of spare parts, I'm going to just keep swapping them out, and I'll be able to debug this and work out what's wrong with it in a less brute force way, because the only way I can do it is to basically start buying up loads of video memory chips, these ones for example, and just changing the lot, and then changing a lot and changing a lot. And if I do the whole changing the lot of these, I'd probably put them in proper IC carriers as well, so be able to swap them out later if there's an issue and things like that, and it will start to get pretty expensive. So I'm going to try to remember now how to actually assemble this. I've just got the screws. It's probably been a few weeks really sat here. This is the heat sink. I'm pretty confident that would go in there. It doesn't seem to want to go in any other way. The motherboard has 1, 2, 3, I can see 3, maybe 4 underneath this electrolytic, yeah, and 5. But I only see 3 screws here of that, well, 4 of that pudgy nature, but we'll try it anyway. And it sort of left me pondering actually this today, because I'm having a really big clear out, because I just got totally fed up now. It's nearly 2 years doing the back office, and I've kind of been stockpiling things. I know when you see videos of people on YouTube, they get these, like, sometimes you see, especially vloggers, they've got these sort of backgrounds full of boxes, and you're kind of like, what's all that about? Well, they get sent, I say we now, I guess I should start considering myself one of those, get sent a lot of stuff, which is amazing. It's really appreciated actually, because you do need stuff to talk about and play with. At the same time, you get stuff from your YouTube fans, which are great, and you really appreciate that. That's amazing. But then you also start getting stuff from shops and manufacturers wanting to sell stuff or asking if you do a review. And I'm always quite transparent with that. I'll just say yes, of course. I'm not an idiot. I will have a free thing if it's something that does interest me anyway, and I probably would have bought it, you know, some LEDs or something. But I'm always quite clear to them that if it's crap, I'm going to say it's crap. But they're normally happy with that arrangement. And what's going on here? Sorry, there's a thing with a big heat sink. There we go. And that works out pretty well. But what happens, and of course you do get sent quite a lot of stuff, so it does soon start adding up. Just never noticed this on old Chinny's thing, these sort of feet thing. I don't think it came with them anyway. And yeah, so it starts adding up, and you get these things, and it's weird because you've got new items. So people send you old stuff to play with or repair, break, fix, and send back. That's fine. But then when people send you new stuff, but it might not be something that you would actually really use in day-to-day life. Let's just say I sent you a new toaster, and you're really happy with your existing toaster. Now you've got in your garage a new toaster that you've talked about. You've done a video on it, but you kind of feel, well, you can't chuck it away. I suppose you could take it to a charity shop. Maybe that's what I ought to consider doing. But then there's certain things I do really aren't interested. I wouldn't be interested to anyone going to a charity shop. You know, here's an old Toshiba battery pack. How about that? From a laptop that has not existed for 10 years. So yeah, you kind of got to deal with things like that. Well, that's it. That's Chinny's laptop Spectrum put back together. Shame. I do like these though. Actually, I think that this is. I was going to do a video, by the way, and you can tell me what you think about this. I was going to do a video on Sinclair and the ZX Spectrum, but it's not going to be the sort of typical YouTube video you get on it. It was going to be me slagging it off, to be honest with you. I really respect the hardware. I respect what they've done with it, but people seem to be remembering it as something else, and I don't understand that. There's a lot of this nostalgic retro thing going on, and reboots of Spectrums and stuff like that. But I don't think it warrants it. You know, I remember being back in the day thinking Spectrum was crap, and I still think it's crap, and I think the games are awful and the gameplay's awful. It was one in a sea of computers available at the time, and many of them were far better than this. So it obviously has a place in history, and it has a place in people's hearts, but I genuinely don't understand this sort of. I think it's almost faux nostalgia, because I think if you spend like a few £100 on getting one of these rebooted and you play it, you're going to play it for 2 minutes. Go, this is shit. These games are terrible. Just if you're going to do it, just get an emulator, because it's easy to emulate these, and you can play all those games and just have a quick go. I know it's not the same as having the original hardware, but before you invest your big money into that, just have a quick play on it. Some of these actually they've got like FPGAs and things. They're going to be like hardware compatible, and okay, for whatever that's worth. But ironically, you can put a Raspberry Pi Zero, one of these, in it to make it cleverer. You know, so you can give it additional features, like probably being able to go on Wi-Fi and the internet and whatever else this will give you. But it's like, well, why don't you just base it on this bloody thing, and you don't need your FPGA and any of that stuff. Just emulate it straight on here. It's really weird. It's really weird. Anyway, you can see I'm going off into a rant. It obviously winds me up just thinking about that. So I'm going to put this in a box back to young Chinny, and I'm going to send him his PDA 600 back, because I would love to keep all of this, but say I'm having this cathartic thing where I'm just clearing out and binning. I could take this to a charity shop. No, that would be wrong. One, it's he gave it to me very kindly, so kindly, and two, it would just get binned. And no, I think Chinny, you did a review on this. It was very sticky though. You couldn't really finish it. I've cleaned it up. I think it's. I'm going to throw it back to you, mate. I reckon you can give it a bit of justice now. And it's such a wonderful gadget. If I had more room for just storing all of this stuff, I definitely would. But unfortunately, I'm very transient in my collecting. I'm not collecting clearly like good working things. I collect sort of shite broken things that become slightly less broken, but are still quite messy and never in a nice box to put on a shelf. So there you go, Chinny. I'm going to send these back to you. Thank you so much for the hours of entertainment you've given to me completing these, or not completing them in the case of the Plus 2. I'm sure anybody who's watching back of his show already watches your channel, but if they haven't, go over to Chinny Vision and have a look and see what he will do with these things, or what he has done with these things in the past. He's got an excellent channel. Far better than mine, some would say, but not me. Please, any comments down below, guys, and as ever, thank you for watching.